And our topic for today, we will discuss the clientele settings and media channels of communication. Specifically, the settings, methods, and tools in communication practice. Types of clienteles and audiences in communication. The first one is individuals. Communication provides with ways to send and receive messages. A need to must be satisfied for survival. So our life with others in the society requires us to interact with one another, to share thoughts, to share ideas, or your personal experiences. Communication helps people interact with their families, schoolmates, and teachers, co-workers, and fellow members of the community. So in doing, we individuals listen and speak, and also receive and give information, which is what they called a two-way process. These interactions may be in the forms of oral, written, or electric communication. So the second one is organization. So the family. So family is one of the example of a group. Communication provides family with tools that they need to maintain their strength. It also refers in the way of verbal or nonverbal information. So communication within the family is extremely important because it allows them to express their needs, their wants, and concerns. One such tool is clear and direct communication, where a family member directly tells another about his or her concern and how it can be addressed. So like I said earlier, it allows them to express, especially in a concerns like that. So school is also a group and also a organization. Communication provides school with various means to facilitate learning and accomplish other objectives, because without communication we can't learn anything, and without learning schools are nothing. Also, schools suggest reading skills and literacy and the ability to engage more knowledge, either it's new or unfamiliar. So, in communication in the school, either uses oral, written, and electronic communication such as letter, online groups, meeting, to allow them to communicate with their advisors, classmates, and school administration. Also, especially a guidance counselor to help you dealing with your problems. If not, teacher or classmates will do. So the last one is communities. Communities made up as individual or group. Communicators bring news about current events, public service, programs, and projects from the government to communities. So this type of communication is very useful nowadays because communicators provide information of our community. So they updates about our current events that is very useful in our community. So they are the one who will inform their community about their programs. Communicators, especially those from the entertainment industry, provide communities an escape from the harsh realities of life. So all of us are clientele and audiences in communication. However, communication can only be effective when communicators take into consideration the characteristic of intended clientele and audiences.
So, good day guys. Today I will be discussing the settings, method, and tools in communication practice. So, communication settings include the following. So, first, the government. Government is one of the primary settings of communication. Communicators disseminate news about the government and its activities which are significant to the people. So, 'di ba, government is the center of the of a country. So if walang government, walang maglilid ng isang country, walang economy, walang development, ganon. So ang pinaka primary source ng government para makapag-disseminate ng news, syempre first is ang television, 'di ba? So sa mga news, ganon. Tayo mga tao sa isang country na walang posisyon sa government, umaasa na tayo na makakuha ng information sa mga news, 'di ba? Kung anong ginagawa ng government para sa atin. So next is this private sector. So private sector can be considered the setting for organizational communication. Organizations, whether public or private, cannot exist without communication. So 'di ba, it makes sense kung walang communication nagaganap sa isang organization, parang wala na ring organization. Kasi kung walang communication, hindi mag-work ang isang organization. Paano i-develop ng isang organization kung hindi sila nagko-communicate? Kung hindi nagko-communicate ang mga employees, ang mga owner, so 'di ba? Public and private organizations use a number of tools and techniques to facilitate effective communications. One of these is downward and upward communication. First is the downward communication. Downward communication is the flow of communication from higher to lower level of authority. Sa upward communication naman, on the other hand, is communication from lower to higher level. So, di ba, napag-aralan natin to noong mga lower grade level pa lang tayo. So, ang downward communication from higher to lower. So, di ba, sa mga owner or mga president to employees, ganun. Tapos, pag higher, mga employees to owner, kung may concern sila. Tapos, kung may concern nyo naman ang mga nakakataas, yun doon magaganap ang downward communication. So next is the electronic communication. Electronic communication, which involves the use of email, is prevalent in most organizations nowadays. Electronic mail or email allows us to send messages to a single person or multiple people almost instantaneously. So, 'di ba, itong email ang nalaman natin na pinaka convenient na gamitin para makapag-disseminate ang information sa iba. At ito rin ang ginagamit most of every malalaking organization sa pag-send sa mga mga partners, mga business. Ito yung ginagamit nila, itong email. So, however, it also has its disadvantages, including the loss of face-to-face interaction, the temptation to send spontaneous and emotion-laden messages, and the use of acronyms and emoticons that can easily be misunderstood. So, 'di ba, ang pagsisend ng emails is through computers lang, laptops or cellphones, 'di ba? So baka may malagay tayong inappropriate messages na misunderstood ng receiver, magdudulot ng negative happenings, 'di ba? Like pagka misunderstanding ng sender at receiver. Brainstorming is another group communication technique used by organizations. It aims to generate as many ideas as possible from organization members before arriving at a particular decision. It encourages organization members to be creative and imaginative. So, 'di ba, hindi lang to sa organizations, not only in organizations, even in school, we use it. We students tend to brainstorm in order to come up with decisions that are helpful to us in what we are doing. So next is focus group discussion. Organizations also use focus group discussion to obtain feedback regarding proposed programs and projects. FGDs are facilitated by a member of the organization who is knowledgeable on the issue being discussed. So this focus group discussion is somewhat likely the same to brainstorming. The difference is in brainstorming, uh, a group will discuss to form an idea, but in focus group discussion, an idea is already being presented. It only needs to be discussed to gain feedback and other comments from other members of the organization or group. So, team building is another tool used by organizations to promote greater camaraderie and coordination among members. Its goal is to make everyone an effective member of the organization. So, team building is common with private organizations. It is done to make members comfortable with each other and also to gain trust and boost their confidence to work with one another. So next is this organization's development. Organization's development is used to bring about structural and behavioral change in the organization and its members. So from the word itself, organizational development, it is done to have development in the organization and its members. Its purpose is to make members comfortable communicating with each other and also to make members efficient in their works.
Ang team building. Team building is another tool used by an organization to promote greater camaraderie and coordination among members. It is sometimes equated with excursions. However, team building achieves an even greater purpose. Its goal is to make everyone an effective member of the organization. It is more often used by private organizations. Government agencies do not usually conduct team building activities due to budgetary and other concerns. So, ang team building, ginagawa siya para mas mapa-strengthen or mas makaband para na din sa organization. Nakaka-benefit din siya sa organization nila. Like, kung nagbabanding kasi kayo sa isang trabaho, kung magka-friends kayo, magkakaibigan, di ba mas mapapadali yung trabaho nyo kasi parang close kayong lahat, ganyan. So next ay ang organizational development. It is used to bring about structural and behavioral change in the organization and its members. It aims to help organization members cope with work problems and become more productive and efficient. So yung organization's development, usually ginagawa yun siya para na rin sa ikabubuti ng mga members at saka ng organization nila. Like, sabi nga dito, used to bring about structural and behavioral change in the organization and its members. It aims to help organization members cope with the work problems and become more productive and efficient. So, kunwari, sa organization nyo, may isang problem. So, ginagawa doon, change siya, dinedevelop siya para mas mapadali yung trabaho ng mga members nyo, tsaka para na din sa ikabubuti ng organization sa organization nyo. So, yes, nakaka-benefit yun siya sa organization saka sa members. Next naman is punta naman tayo sa civil society. Ano ba yung civil society? Civil society is the ecosystem that influences social change outside of the family, market, or government, often referred to as the space where we act for the common good. Civil society aims to connect poor or marginalized people with groups that can mobilize support to help. It includes development NGO, community group, women's organizations, faith-based organizations, professional associations, and etc. So yung civil society, sila yung mga tumutulong para mas mapa-better yung sitwasyon sa isang society or sa members or sa mga members ng society. It includes non-governmental organizations and private foundations. It makes use of the following: interviews, surveys, and policy advocacy. So, first is ang interviews. It is used to assess the needs of individuals or groups served by civil society. Civil society workers must therefore be adept at creating interview guides and questionnaires. So, katulad din ng ginagawa natin sa high school life natin, di ba nag-research tayo. So, sila din, nagre-research din sila. And ginagawa nila is first, di ba, nag-i-interview din tayo. So, sila din nag-i-interview din sila. So, ginagawa nila yung pag-i-interview para mas malaman nila kung ano yung kailangan nilang gawin para matulungan nila ang mga members ng society. So, kailangan, kung kasali ka sa mga civil society workers, kailangan magaling ka sa paggawa ng mga questionnaires. Kasi marami kang i-interviewin, marami kang makakasalamuhan ng mga tao na iba't ibang tao, ganon. So, dapat maalam ka sa mga ganyan. Next one naman ay ang surveys. It is another tool used by civil society for identifying the needs of society. Using surveys requires familiarity with different statistical tools, both qualitative and quantitative. So, ginagawa din nila yon, nagsisurvey din sila para malaman nila kung ano bang kailangan ng isang society para mas mapabetter ito. Kailangan maalam ka kung paano alam mo kung paano gamitin yung parehong qualitative at quantitative na paraan ng pag-survey. Kasi iba-iba namang survey yung gagawin mo. Hindi lang naman siya by word, hindi lang naman siya by numbers, diba? So, alam mo, dapat marunong ka sa both qualitative and quantitative survey. Next one naman ay ang policy advocacy. Ano ba yung policy advocacy? It is a set of targeted actions directed at decision makers in support of a specific change. So, yun yung mga paraan o yung mga kailangan gawin na para mas mapabetter yung isang society na kailangan, bali sila yung mga paraan para mapabetter yung society, tapos dadalhin sa taas para ma-implement talaga siya, like para maaprubahan at magawa na yung mga plano na para mas mapabetter yung isang society. So yun, it involves lobbying in which communicators interact with legislators to make recommendations regarding certain policies and programs. Civil society workers also write to policymakers to put forward their recommendations and discuss other issues that need to be addressed. So, bale, yun nga nasabi ko na, yung mga paraan na dalhin sa taas or yung mga changes na dalhin sa taas para maaprubahan at maisagawa. So, usually, yung mga umaano doon is yung mga journalists, tapos yung mga civil society workers din, usually, nasasuggest din sila, doon nila sinasuggest yung mga plano nilang changes para sa isang society, para ma-approve and mabago na yung society. The next na magre-report is Curt, Jude, Aying. That would be all. Thank you.
School provide another setting for communication. They enable individuals to broaden their perspectives in life. This is true not only for students but also for teachers, administrators, and the non-teaching staff. Communication tools and techniques used in schools include lectures, recitations, case studies, PowerPoint presentations, and memoranda. So what is school? School is a place where we can learn everything and communicate to the teachers and the other person that is in school. So as what said here, we can broaden the perspective in life. So we can learn things here in school and everything. So the communication tools and techniques used in school are first the lectures. So lectures are mostly delivered by teachers to provide students with knowledge. However, there are times when resource persons are invited as guests invited as guest lecturer in class. These resource speakers are usually expert in their fields. So lectures, what are lectures is like giving some knowledge to the students from the topic of the subject. So that is so lecture is a way of giving some knowledge or giving some topics to the student. And the resource speakers are usually expert in their field. So resource speakers, the speakers usually is giving some words or giving some advices to the students and or to the teacher. Have that is why they are experts in their fields. And second is the recitation. So recitations are done to determine if the students understood the lectures. Students who are the receivers of the lecture should be able to develop their analytical and critical thinking skills through their recitations. So recitation, what is recitations? So as what said here that to determine to determine if the students understood the lectures. So recitations are used to determine the student's knowledge about the topic that the teacher given to him. That so so the students are the so the so the recitation is where we can learn where we can use the lectures that the teacher given to us. So so this is the time that we can use the analytical and critical thinking skills through the recitations. So case studies may also be used by teacher to better illustrate concepts or issue being discussed. Case studies may be complemented by role players, where students perform presentations about topics and issues. Role plays can help students better understand the case studies in class. So what is case studies? Case studies is like a deep understanding where we can understand the real point the main point of the studies. So this is the studies where it's like the example is like the research and where we can only where we can undergoing case that's like we like to prove the facts. So we are undergoing the case studies to tell to tell the teachers what is the facts about the certain studies. And PowerPoint presentations are often used as lecture and report aids. However, one must know how to prepare slides to make presentation effective. One must also know how to use PowerPoint in a way that the audience does not end up simply reading the presentation. So what is PowerPoint presentations? PowerPoint presentation is like what I'm doing now, what I'm using to make my report. So it's not like we use the PowerPoint, so we need to know how to prepare slides. So at what said here, one must know how to prepare slides to make the presentation effective. So the audience or the listeners or the listeners sim can understand the easy way about the report that you're presenting. So memoranda are meant to inform, disseminate information, or enforce disciplinary action. Memoranda can be printed or sent through email. So what is memoranda? Memoranda is a letter. It can be written, printed, or sent via email. So what is the so what was the memoranda? Memoranda is a letter. Is a let is like a letter, and as what is said here is to give information. A letter to give information or enforce disciplinary action. So in a easy way, understanding, memoranda is a letter to give disseminate information. And so memoranda is the last communication I memoranda is the last communication tools and techniques used in school. And community is considered the largest setting of communication. It can be as small as a barangay or as large as an entire nation. In a small community, the barangay chair or another official can convene an assembly to discuss issues confronting the community. The Katarungag Pambarangay also provides an avenue for community members to resolve conflicts before these are brought before the courts. So community plays a big role in the communication, because if there is no community, there is no communication happening. So it's, for example, you are the only one living in a certain place, so there will be no communication happening in that community. So as what so and even though it is a small barangay, there 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 gonna be communication happening in that place. So what is said here, the Katarungag Pambarangay also provides an avenue for community members to resolve conflicts before. So Katarungag Barangay, it means that there is a place in a barangay hall that where where people can resolve or solve that their conflicts or the misunderstanding that happen in that place. And surveys are also conducted to assess the needs of the community and help the relevant government agencies formulate and eventually implement a program or service to respond to such needs. So service, what is surveys? So surveys surveys is were conducted to assess needs. So surveying the community to find or to, as in the easy way, surveying the community to help the government formulate of what a certain barangay or place needed. So that's what the survey help in a certain community. And that is all.
So, hi everyone. So, now I will continue the discussion. So, my topic is mass media. Mass media, our society is heavily influenced by mass media. The moment we wake up in the morning, we may find ourselves looking for the daily newspaper or turning on the television to watch the early morning news. So the example of mass media, we have television, radio, newspaper, and internet. So the advantages of mass media is it can help us to get new information easily and quickly. And it can help us to explore new things. And the disadvantages of mass media is it can spread false information to others. And also, it can distract from studying and working and spending time of our family. So when we use mass media, it's so important that be safe and be smart and do not share your personal information to others. So the next is radio. Radio has been popular especially to the remote areas of the country where power is still not available during times of power interruption due to storm, floods, and earthquakes. The radio become a practical means to be updated about what goes on around us. So when we say radio, radio can help us to be prepared and to be aware of what happened. So that is the rule of radio. So next is television. Television provides the public not only the latest news but also the other programs that cater to different groups of people. This includes a variety show, dramas, game show, travel show, and public affairs program. So that is the television. So next is sound recordings. We all use music and sound recordings for various purposes. We need music to relax and manage our streets. Music is also important in creating a certain moods for school plays and presentation. So that is the sound recordings all about. So next is motion picture. Motion picture is a major form of recreation and entertainment. These are regarded by some as most creative and artistic of all media. So you all know what is the motion picture. So the motion picture is also known as film or movies. So that is the motion picture. So next is internet. Internet has made life more exciting to those who have access to it. It has made things faster and Wi-Fi utilize radio waves to deliver fast, wireless, and optical internet and network connection. So in our generation, internet has become a part of everyone's lives and made things faster and easier to use. That's all. So the next reporter will be Autor.
New media. It is said to have sprung from dissatisfaction with traditional forms of media. So the example of this are the television, newspaper, and radio. And the new media are have two forms, the web blogs or blogs and the social media websites. The first is web blogs or blogs. Serve as online diaries or journals created and updated to express one's thought, meanings, and commentaries on issues or topics of internet. So the blogs are the online diaries or journals. According to Welch 2003, blogs contain information updated by their users and newer blog entries appear earlier than older ones. Welch also adds that blog entries can contain hyperlink which let readers access other websites. Some bloggers get paid for their blogs, thus becoming a source of income for them. Blogs can provide entertainment and disseminate information. Some organizations use blogs to introduce their service and provide updates to customers and even
employees. So according to Welch 2003, blogs can contain information, and some blogs are entertainment. And Welch also adds blog entries that contain hyperlink so that the readers can access other websites. And some organizations or company use blog to entertain or to introduce their products or services for the customers. The second are social media websites, such as Facebook and Twitter, are also used for disseminating information and making announcements about events, programs, or activities. The example of this are the Facebook and Twitter. In that website, we can get information so that we can aware of what is happening and what is the event or the activities in media, in social media. Telecommunication. It is defined as the long distance exchange of information through technological devices such as telephones, mobile phones, and computers. One of the recent innovations in telecommunication is telecommuting or the electronic cottage. So, the telecommunication is the long distance exchange of information through devices or through technological devices such as the telephones, mobile phones, and computers. One of the recent innovation is the telecommuting or the electronic cottage. Research suggests that telecommuting has several advantages. So in research, telecommuting have advantage and disadvantage. The advantage of these are freedom from distraction in the workplace, reduced expenses and time spent for commuting, office clothing and other work needs, and more time for bonding with family members. And the disadvantage of these are lower chances for promotion due to less visibility, greater risk of burnout from the temptation to work for more hours, and feelings of isolation from other employees.